Hello folks, Boober again here. This is gonna be our last modern playtest match tape for a while, I think, because I have to now start to actually playtest standard quite extensively after the Protora Amonkhet, and between the Copenhagen and Amsterdam GP I would be on the road, and probably wouldn't have any way to record any matches, so this is why I just want to let you know basically. But there is a chance that you'd see this or next week some standard playtest matches. But those maybe will feature some proxies just because we will try different decks and just try different matchups. So this time around you'd see Death Shadow aggro do Giant version up against Blue Red Baral Gift Storm. Basically, yeah, two pretty common decks online at the moment, so you probably want to know how that matchup plays out. The list of the Death Shadow deck is pretty standard, nothing extraordinary there. Um, and well, the list of the Storm deck is kind of stuck too, but there are many variants and people try out different cards. So, especially after you see Cyborg games, don't just take this list for granted because I'm not sure what's the best list right now for Storm. Uh, Most of the cards in the 75 for that deck are um, solved, but depending on the meta, you can tech in a few things here and there. Also, because I just built this deck just to have it on paper, and I didn't want to invest too much into it, so I don't have the Scalding Turns in here. I do have like 8 fetches in the deck, but just 8 blue ones. So there are Steam lands, there are the fast lands, but as you may have noticed from the other tapes, yeah, sometimes it gets awkward. Still did put in a basic mountain in here in the deck, but added a third island after a few tests. Just makes my Blood Moon better after sideboard, things like that. And well, there are very few turns when you actually just want to fetch a basic mountain. Most of the time, just one red source is okay, plus you have the fast lands. So the difference is minimal, but sometimes it gets awkward. But against Death Shadow deck, it's not gonna be all that important. That's for sure. What I'm more concerned about in this matchup is just to get any traction between his removal and his discard spells. It's mostly about his discard spells. Death Shadow doesn't feature all that much removal, so there is that. Luckily, if he kind of destroys part of my hand with one copy of Empty the Warrants in the main deck, I could still, try to spam some tokens and try to win that way. With the help of some discard, he could slow me down considerably so that he can basically draw into a fast Big Shadow into Battle Rage, and that's gonna trample through all my tokens and 2-drops. I think that's still before sideboard. Yeah, after sideboard, I think things get kind of much tougher for Storm. The Death Shadow deck gains surgical extractions at the very least. What else? I think Maelstrom Pulse is a staple singleton in the sideboard of that deck too. Some builds I guess might run it main. That answers 2 drops and also answers all the empty the Warrens tokens too. So that's pretty critical. Well, graveyard hates matters, like a Nile spellbomb or something, for example. Because you don't want to exile your own graveyard because of the Goyf and Traverse and Kolgan's command. And with Nile spellbomb, you can just exile target graveyard. So I'm mulling down to 6 here, which is pretty bad in this matchup because I'll get even less cards to work with because of his discard. This is just like kind of bad, but I have a ritual and electromancer in there. So if I draw like some cantrips, I can maybe get there. Plus I get this cry. I saw an island on top, so that's easy bottom because I already have 4 lands in hand. So that's kind of bad, but this means if I draw gifts, I can cast it no matter what, even if he discards the rituals out of my hand. Goes for a fetch into shock, probably. Plus I got on the play, but maybe with this hand I would prefer to be on the draw just to have more resources. Obvious Inquisition or random Thoughtseize on turn 1 from him. Yeah, easy Electromancer. Among other things, it actually, does damage and tags and blocks and so on. Drop the second land. I think drew a ritual for the turn. Procking this fetch now, because why not? I did scry a land to the bottom, but I'm gonna shuffle. Still. So there was a Street Rave bubble. This means that his Traverse gonna be online pretty soon. Or Goth. Okay, cracks this. Goes for a shock. I assume. Especially in this matchup, he can afford to go pretty low, I think, but not too low enough so that manual like Grape Shot for something like 5 with just a few cantrips will just kill him off. Cracks the bubble on his turn to, get the draws now. So, okay, cast the Traverse too. So that's all his like turn 2 still. He can get a 1/1 shadow, but that's kind of dangerous if I just like find the Grape Shot to kill it off. He finds a Goyf. Finds a Goyf. He's gonna draw on my turn with the bubble. It's kind of weird that he found Goyf. Maybe he already has a shadow in hand. Okay, sees. Goes to 10. I have nothing pretty much. Basically, even if I would have drawn a decent starting hand, if I would have kept a decent 7 and not mulligan, of course, I think I'd still be pretty much destroyed this game. He has 3 discard spells, I think. I know, just 2, but then again, that means he'd still be able like to take out the key cards. He'd still have a fast clock with Goyf or Shadow. Okay, now he actually casts both, so Shadow now is free, so it's relatively safe in face of Grape Shots. Yeah, and I just like can't get any traction. Goyf is already 5, 5/6. Shadow is free, Yadbot can easily grow pretty damn large on his turn. with a few cycles and stuff like that. Yeah, using the opportunity to, just take out the shadow with two rituals and a shot and a grape shot, because I can still draw gifts or past in flames to try to go off. So basically, spending off the rituals and the shot now is not a big deal, but killing off the shadow now buys me, I think, a couple extra turns at least. Travers, okay. Um, he hit me with a glaive for 5 and down to 14. He's a 10, but that's still a lot. Um, finds a shadow of another Travers. Shadow's still free, but with the fetch in play, he can easily make it into a 5/5, no 6/6. So he represents 10 next turn. Went for Marfos just to try to hit like gifts or past in flames. Didn't hit anything. Past the 10. So he can easily put me down to 4. And there's a pretty big chance that I'm just dead. He cycled 3 traves, so he just lacks 2 more damage, for example. So he really doesn't need all that much here to kill me off. Obviously, Battle Rage is just a straight out kill. I would even say overkill. Yeah, with that Black-Red fetch in play, so he basically just 2 damage short. Simply just 2 damage short. Yeah, games like this is probably one of the reasons to play random copy of Echo and Truth main, because you can just cantrip into it or fetch it out with gifts. It's kind of like a fog in this matchup. Yeah. Shadow currently 5/5, so he has 10. Okay, that's lethal. He can just fetch a basic and a shock. To fetch is, yeah, that's +4 for the shadow, that's lethal. As easy as that. So yeah, not a very complicated deck. The shadow jumped. I just had a ritual in hand, so. Ritual for Morphose, Electromancer. Yeah, pretty bad draws. Yeah. So this is why I think people in the Storm deck should probably run either Martian Scroll to find gifts, or just Peer for Depth to find gifts or Passing Flames. The thing about the scroll is that, like, yeah, you just have one target in the deck, in main deck at least. After sideboard, because Martian Scroll gets better, because you can fetch some coin truth or repeals and stuff like that. Well, okay, I'm lying. You can get remand with the scroll if you really need to. So I guess, yeah, I guess maybe it's legit good, unlike Peer, because you only care about like finding a way to go off. On the other hand, Peer post sideboard can help you find it does still find you a coin truth as an answer to answer to opposing hate, but for example, Peer can help you find Shattering Spree or Shatter Storm, things like that. So that's pretty cool. Can help you find that anger of the gods, or like or a bolt. It could be relevant. It could be relevant. That's for sure. So we're sitting here. I think it's kind of safe to take out a grape shot. Okay, so he's taking out pushes and brings in a surgical and two spell bombs. Because a spell bomb, I do want some way to answer it. But in this matchup, probably want just a bounce spell instead of like art hate because, well, it's just too narrow. I'm sure there. Remanda's kind of in this matchup. All his stuff is real cheap. I don't think I should have taken out the Baral. And by the way, this is a build with 4 Remands main. Yeah, Moon is good. MtG is good in this matchup. I want some bounce. Bringing in a copy of Truth and Repeal. Just because of gifts. Yeah. I think I took Remands. Yeah, Baral and shot. Not sure if I should have taken out that second shot simply because of surgical, and because if I have to like use it up early, then he gets rid of this with the spell bomb. But I think tokens are much better plan post hybrid against this deck. He doesn't have all that many options. Sorry for a bit of a change. Found the setting to actually make my voice a bit louder for the tapes. So just the volume accordingly at this point. But that's good news because from now on you wouldn't have to volume up too much when you watch this on YouTube and so on. Basically. Hope I didn't hurt your ears at this point. So yeah, moving on. Basically, if Shadow and Eldrazi would be popular at Copenhagen, don't think I would recommend actually, playing Storm. You can get some free wins when your opponent just doesn't draw enough discard or doesn't draw Chalice or things like that. Or then post Cyber doesn't draw Graveyard Hate. But it's just, I don't think it's a good choice. It's a very budget one, though. You can technically get away as I did here without the blue-red fetches, for example. And yeah, most of the deck is pretty inexpensive. And even Blood Moons nowadays don't really cost that much. Like at least a couple times that less than they used to, like a year ago or something. Yeah. And kind of feel like you could technically from the shadow side board in a few more things. Let's list some extra way to deal with the herd of goblin tokens from MtG, because that's one way to lose this matchup. On the other hand, seems like the Fortis turn 1 is still good. Takes out MtG from the starting hand because, well, technically you can't be playing Spirit Guides in Storm, but then it will be a different deck. Really a different deck. But just because turn 1 discard is such a common thing to happen now in the format, maybe you can, transform the Storm deck into something just less focused. Just add in the Spirit Guides. Here's an Inquisition. Again, I don't think I should have kept this hand, but Visions plus Slaughter hand kind of make it good. And Ritual is good if I find MtG, for example. Yeah, Grapeshot is bad, but I don't think he should necessarily mulligan this hand. Can I have Ritual into Moon here? He took out a sleight of hand out of my hand because, well, Ritual does nothing on its own, and Serum can, well, find something nasty. Fetching out an island before ritualing out Blood Moon. Um, because, well, he doesn't even have uncracked fetches in play, so hoping that the moon will actually do its job here. It's not a, like, automatic solution, but, um, well, what can I say? Um, Still gonna buy me a few turns to try to set up. Just a couple of turns of him not being able to cast discard spells is probably good enough. And then unlike Tron, who get mapped and waste and can respond with Ghost Quarter to try to fetch a basic. So I think Shadow John has less waste. Well, this was like really lucky for him to get that basic swamp there, and I think it was actually even the draw for the turn. Now he can cast Thoughtseize, well, takes out the Graveshard, says to land, so I don't have really anything, so this Thoughtseize actually wasn't that bad, but with access to black, he can actually cast some things. He took out Fatal Push, though there's actually, by the way, a chance that, because Shadow Pilots might take out Spot Removal, though I don't recommend this. Maybe playing a couple things in Ice and a couple of Gun Parameters might be actually good again. I don't know. Most people don't even like play any backups in the sideboard. Well, basically, additional copies of Empty Awareness is your backup plan. When you're facing some graveyard hate, for example, like this Nile Spell Bomb, which also allows him to net a card. He even has the black to actually, get full value out of it. Yeah. There is that. Well, he's already at 16, a bit strangled in mana. This Electromancer could do some work here. He's just passing the turn. Yeah, unless he has a push, which he for some reason decided out. I don't know why. What he can even do here? The Shadow deck doesn't even have bolts in it. Well, he has Colligan's Command that he can cast if he draws it. But I'm drawing dry too. This Baral basically doesn't do anything. Except that it like speeds up my clock a little bit, but that's just very bad plan. So I need to draw what? Gifts? Gifts would be fine. Because it all costs just 2 mana. And even if he has the spell bomb up, I can fetch up this way that I get some value out of it, regardless what he chooses to bin. Okay, visions here. Hoping to find something that, speeds up my clock, or at least lets me dig further. Yeah, empty is pretty good here. Actually think he should have I hope he boarded in the Kozilek's return. Yeah. And if instead you play Anger of the Gods, that's still fine, because Storm, okay, they have the tokens, but they don't actually play any copies of Bushwhacker anymore, so they can set up one turn kill, so you'd have the opportunity to wipe the board. And none of those require non-red mana, so under Blood Moon you can cast whatever you need. Yeah, well, I think I discussed the difference between Anger and Return in another tape, by just saying that, um, well, you lose that benefit of exiling in matchups like Dredge or Company, but then you get an extra bonus against Affinity, for example, to be able to kill Nexus lands. And also, this matters against Edge Champion, for example, because Return is a colorless source of damage. Unless the champions already have some counters from Overseer or Ravager or Pump from the Master of Ethereum. His Death Shadow right now is just 2-2, so that's kind of bad. Well, he can block the Baral at least, though. He can't crack the Fetchies. So he actually wouldn't mind here to, you know, actually draw the Shocklands, because I think he'd still be able, kind of take 2 damage and grow the Shadow so that he can, block the Electromancer, for example. Probably at this point I'm actually fine attacking with both, because don't think he can do much. Okay, I found gifts, and then searched up, I think, Morphose. Yeah, Morphose, going through repeal empty. So if I was him, I definitely wouldn't give me the empty, that's for sure. And then probably wouldn't want to give me a repeal, I guess, because it bounces Shadow and draws me a card. Yeah, so probably been repeal and empty. Just give the Metamorphose and the Truth. Both are fine. Just didn't want to go for Past in Flames here because he has the Spell Bomb. If he can decide, for example, like to give me Past and then I can't really cast it, well, that forces him to crack the bomb. Which is maybe not that bad of a plan, but I don't know. So he binned the repeal, I see that, and it's probably been the empty, because that just wins me the game here, basically. Okay, I might be actually able to fix the volume of the first part of this match in terms of my voice. Not sure, I should have, cast the Truth here. I cast it on the bomb. That's even more weird. Casting Morphose. Maybe I had a Pass in Flames in the bin somewhere there? No. Why would I do things like this? Maybe I have Past in my hand. No. Okay, I still have like 1 mana in pool or something. Yeah, 1 red or blue maybe in pool. So let's see what I got from this slide. Yeah, I think I kind of messed up this turn a little bit. Okay, So what is it? Okay, gifts. So I took the mana from the pool that I have left over from our foes. Now casting gifts. Yeah. So with 1 mana to spear. Interesting. So kind of like went YOLO here. That's kind of interesting. So let's see, he's at 11. Um, I have only 1 mana to spare. I can take ritual past Merphos, basically. Yeah, thinking of like what I can do here actually. I should have gone for one empty here, I guess. Then if he, so if he beans it, no. If he then beans past and empty, can't do anything. Yeah, but this way I can go up to 4 mana at least. Then the flashback will cost 3, and just flashing rituals I can actually go off. Yeah. So this works out, I think. That was pretty risky. But I guess at this point it's hard to, not to find all the pieces of the puzzle. We have a pretty thinned deck at this point. Plus the deck only plays like 18 lands. And you have a lot of good draws that get you there. Yeah, that was kind of ballsy for me. Yeah, I think it works out. So I think no matter what he gives me, probably just gives me a ritual plus some foes. That's free 4 mana, flashback for free, and just go off. He's at 11, that's enough, yeah. Well, technically he can maybe give me passed into hand. Yeah, if he gives me actually passed into hand and my foes, for example, then I might not get there. I know, yeah, if he gives me those two into hand, yeah. Yeah, that's actually kind of tricky, yeah. But I'm pretty sure like he will figure it out here. Yeah, I should have gone for empty instead of the past, I think. Cause it would have cost 2, and then no matter what I take, no matter what he gives me, I can just empty. I know. I didn't have past in my graveyard, so it's pretty awkward still. Yeah, well, you can try to rely on your opponent to miss it here. No, I think I actually have a past in there. Or what? I know. I was going for my deck actually, just thinking maybe last minute I'll change something. Yeah, he chose correctly. Cause it's been kind of a long time when I was thinking like what's best to take here. He had time to think it through as well. Right. Yeah, that's a bummer. So, but that might not be that bad. So if I draw a land, I don't think I played a land for the turn just yet. So I'm going to 2 mana to pull. So ritual, I believe ritual or a land works here. So that's put me. No, I need to draw ritual basically here, a bust. Because next turn he just slams the spell bomb and kills me. Sort of. I mean, kills my bin, which is so full at this point, it's really gonna be annoying and hard to actually bounce back. Yeah, that's not it. I think I just drew a spell that doesn't do anything. Would land get me there? Yeah, it would get me there. I needed to draw land or ritual, which is actually not that not that unlikely. Well, Manware Force will also kind of do it in a way. So I have two in the poll right now, but yeah, I guess I drew like a Slight or maybe Visions, which is sort of bad. Yes, I didn't get there, so can probably attack with the Electromancer into the Shadow. That takes out his clock. Yeah, I should have attacked there, I think. Cause like now the bomb just used my bin. I have 6 lands in play, so it doesn't really matter. Ah, I drew Baral. Okay, I drew another Baral. That's just disgusting. Oh, snap. I got wrecked here. I got totally wrecked here. Thoughtseize takes out the past, and then the bomb takes out my graveyard. Now left with just Baral in hand. And because of Thoughtseize, his shadow is now 4-4. So I can't even attack. That's just disgusting. Yeah, he just cracked the bomb without paying to draw, I suppose. Yeah. Because he has only one black available. And it doesn't really matter all that much at this point, yeah. But if I ever find MtG here, I'm still alive in this game. I'd be still alive. Because he's still strangled. I mean, this Death Shadow is threatening, but I'm still at 19. And he just can't attack. Because he risks to take too much damage. I think he got rid of the Grape Shot, so I think there was one Grape Shot in the bin. And there's no second one anymore. I'm considering to actually jumping here in case there's like Battle Rage or stuff going on. Okay, there's the second shadow and that's probably it. Not drawing anything relevant. Shadows are for 4, so he's not killing me next turn. Oh yeah, okay. Now I get it why I actually blocked there with the barrel. Preserve left also because I had a second one in hand. And you know, it's a legendary creature, so can't have both in play. I just have a ritual, which actually is not totally worthless because if I draw MC, that's an extra spell for the storm. Okay, Thoughtseize. So shadows are now 6/6. Well, that's 12. I can go down to 7, but that's dangerous path. But if I have a draw empty, I don't actually need to have both 2 drops in play with 6 lands in. I just needed to find somehow a copy of Empty the Warrens. But I think my draw for the turn was just an hour ritual. Which I really needed to draw off of that Manamorphose instead of drawing the Baral. So yeah, drew basically 2 rituals in a row after the turn when I actually needed them to just go off and win the game. So that was pretty unfortunate. That was really unfortunate. Well, I took the risk to try to get there and didn't draw one of very many cards to get there. Well, this is not a lethal attack by default. I think I die here to Battle Rage anyway. Yeah, so I can go to 1, but then it means I can't crack a fetch. Well, with Blood Moon in play, I can't crack a fetch anyway. Yeah, the top decks are just like worthless. Pretty bad luck here. Okay guys, thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, check the links in the description, leave any comments or feedback below, and yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Until the next sale, goodbye folks.